Morning, how is everybody? I want to talk to you about something today that you're probably going to want to check me into the nut hut. Give me 1 second. Let me shut my van door. I forgot to do that. So, what I was going to talk to you guys about is gals too. It's almost hard to look in the camera, to be honest with you, because I don't even know how to say what I want to say. Uh, First of all, it's a beautiful day here. I've been watching a lot of Bigfoot, Sasquatch type videos, documentaries, interviews, and I feel so drawn to that for some reason. I don't know how to explain it. Um, I've been out in the woods, a lot, just not a lot lately, as much as I would like. Talk about a scary subject, then a squirrel jumps from tree to tree. Talk about like hair going up on your arms. It's just Chief White Belly. That's all. Anyway, so I'm learning so much about what people have observed and what they feel are signs. There's so many different things. Like I definitely had that one weird experience at Mystic Springs Recreation Area. It could have been nothing. To me, it was so pronounced what I was hearing that I truly do not believe it was a human. It was just too loud and too heavy. But this is where I get confused within my processing. At times you hear in these documentaries they talk about how swift and soft the long strides of the Bigfooters. For this purpose of this video, I'm just going to categorize what I'm talking about just as Bigfoot. So it could be referred to differently in your region, but sometimes they make it they describe it as very heavy footed, very heavy footed, and that's what I heard. But so a lot of there's so much forest and wooded area around here. I want to go back to that area, start investigating a little bit more. Not like I'm a professional investigator or anything like that, but just to try and see perhaps some of the signs I didn't know could be there. It's a small primitive camping area. It does get a lot of activity, so people do walk through there and hike through there and stuff like that. So um, I'm learning more and more through these documentaries. They're not always just in the wild. They do come into rural areas. It's assumed basically the way it's inferred to me is they're looking for other food sources. They're learning how to analyze us as humans and our behaviors and stuff like that. So uh, it's believed through what I've learned that they have different ways of trying to communicate. Sometimes it's leaving gifts, if you will, different objects. Uh, they do a lot of. This is the part that I want to investigate. But I want to go back to where this started for me. I won't say started. I've always had a curiosity, but never had any type of fear or experience. But I feel my time would be better served if I got into a remote, desolate area. But I'm so curious to go back to where I had this experience. And this is going to be a holiday weekend, so I suspect that campground is probably going to be pretty well filled up. There's going to be a lot of foot traffic, and so it right now wouldn't be the right time, in my opinion. But I do want to go out, and actually, this part scares me. The This time of year, it's spring. We're almost going into May, and there's going to be a lot of snakes and probably other things that could hurt you, let alone the object of my curiosity. But you hear a lot of talk about the X type markings that are in the woods, all different branches that are could be snapped, and sometimes they're laid into like a cluster. I've heard different thoughts or reasoning why people feel like that's an indication that's a possessive territorial marking. Each crossover is supposed to represent possibly uh, members of their family, and it's just indication perhaps that's their home base, you know. So there's so many other little things, and then this is the one part I really have a hard part understanding in all these different documentaries and stuff like that. They talk about these orbs, and that part I'm having a hard time absorbing, to be quite honest with you. Um, they keep talking about the association of these orbs or these uh, Bigfoot type creatures are often uh, in conjunction with these orbs. I'm, I'm not a very good linguist, so I'm trying to choose my words selectively and correctly and to try and articulate my thoughts. But then I just was watching a little documentary here, and the lady used a term that I wasn't really familiar with, and it was called cloaking. Cloaking basically, after doing some research, basically you could be witnessing in this beautiful, listening to birds. That's another topic I want to talk about. But cloaking basically means you kind of vanish, you disappear. And a lot of people have referred to their Bigfoot sightings as like they would see it here for a second, they weren't expecting to see it, and all of a sudden it vanished. So uh, that seems to be a common theme on what's referred to as cloaking. I don't know where I'm going with this conversation, but when I had that fear that something was real close by the ridge line, and it's amazing how these people keep talking about how how close the their presence was with this creature. And when I pulled out my survival knife and started yelling into the woods, everything stopped. And like I said before, I did stop and listen for a while. At this time, I don't remember how long I did it because I was fearful. I felt like I needed to get back into the van. Um, Not everybody reports like tree knocking, trees breaking. Different people have different reports, but so many common, similar type experience are, almost want to use the word unified. But a while back, I don't know, has it been a year yet? I don't know. I went to Garcon Point and hiked the trail. It was very, very, very primitive. It was scary. I'm not going to lie to you. How I made it through there. As a matter of fact, probably hasn't been a year. I don't remember how long it's been. 6 months, but uh, probably a little bit longer. But I've talked about this before in some of my outdoor videos. When I get really fearful, it's when I don't hear any sounds of nature, like no crickets, no birds, nothing. And that has always, for some reason, I felt like if I'm connected in any way with my nature senses or whatever you want to call it, something has always told me that, even like years ago before I started really getting out into nature more. But so that has happened before on some trail hikes, and when I was at Garcon Point doing that long walk, there was a lot of total silence, and it was very, very primitive. If there was an object out there, a creature that was watching or whatever, there was plenty of places to hide easily, especially if you blend in, if you're real hairy, and uh, they're often described as they almost look like a bush or a part of a tree and stuff like that. But um, I feel now, after watching so many of these documentaries recently, that if I get out into the woods, I'll have a better idea what to look for. And I'm still like really, oh, what's the term I want to use? The orbs. I just almost feel like that's I don't know. They 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 describe like these Bigfoot eyes as being real big eyes and like a glowy red type glow, or almost like an internal blaze or something like that. But I've heard people talk about the orbs going up and down. They'll go side by side. They'll stop. And to me, when they talk about these orbs, it's not like these big giant UFOs. To me, when I heard a little more in detail, they're described as like being this big. So it almost tells me it's these eyes that could be moving, up and down, looking, perching. I haven't heard anybody try and suggest that. It's like these mysterious unknown orbs. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks I can get out and try and get my courage. I need to get some snake boots. I really need to get prepared. If I want to go deep into the woods somewhere, which I don't even know where to go yet, to be honest with you, um, I just feel like that would be a good start. They all say most of these sightings and stuff like that are near water sources like rivers and stuff like that. So I got to take care of something. I'll come back and talk to you another time. Take care, folks.